about that. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the October 24th meeting of the City of Clovis Planning Commission. Members of the public are encouraged to participate in the meetings by accessing the webcast on the city's website, providing written comment at the same website, participating by phone, or attending the Planning Commission meeting in person. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Please join me. Commissioner Hinkle is going to lead us in the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commission Secretary, if you can please call roll.
Commissioner Bested?
Here.
Commissioner Hatcher?
Here.
Commissioner Aber?
Here.
Commissioner Hinkle?
Here.
And Chair Antuna?
Here. Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes for the October 4th, 2024 Planning Commission meeting.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second. Joe.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Hatcher and a second by Commissioner Aber to approve the October 3rd, 2024 minutes. Commissioner Hatcher?
Yes.
Commissioner Aber?
Yes.
Commissioner Hinkle?
Yes.
Commissioner Bested?
Yes.
Chair Antuna?
Abstain since I was out on that meeting.
Okay, and motion carries 4-0-1.
Do we have any comments from the Secretary?
I just have one quick one, then I'll hand it back over to George. I want to let the Commission know that we are in the early stages of our implementation of an interim or an acting deputy city planner program. What that does is it takes each of our 3 senior planners and it rotates them through the role of a deputy, which really means that all of the hard stuff that comes along during their tenure that they get to do. I really don't have anything hard that I have to do during that time because I'm passing everything through to them. It works out great for everyone. George is the first holder of that interim deputy city planner, and Lily will be after George, our 2-month rotation. So Lily will be up in December, and then Mackenzie eventually in February. So any hard questions that you come up with, make sure that you're asking George because he's just waiting for him. With that note, I'll hand it back to George.
And staff would like to mention, too, that the Commission this evening received modified conditions of approval for item number 5 on tonight's agenda, specifically modifying conditions number 58, 78, and 84. But staff will get into more detail during the presentation on those changes. And we do have a couple of other housekeeping items that we would like to keep until the end to respect the time of folks here this evening.
Very good. Do we have any comments from the Planning Commission? I have one. I did notice George's name with the deputy interim, and I think that's an amazing idea. Whoever had that idea, good job, because that's amazing for succession planning and giving experience to our wonderful planning staff. So kudos to whoever decided to do that. Okay, this is the time now that the Planning Commission will hear from any public comments. This is the opportunity for members of the public to address the Planning Commission on any matter within the Planning Commission jurisdiction that is not listed on the agenda already. If you would like to speak, please step up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and in order for everyone to be heard, please limit your comment to 3 minutes and 10 minutes per topic. Anyone wishing to be placed on the agenda for a specific topic should contact the Planning Division and submit correspondence at least 10 days prior to the desired appearance. Do I have anyone from the public that would like to speak? Okay, seeing none, we're going to go ahead and move on to our public hearing. Starting with item number 2, CUP 2024-006, adopting a Class 32 categorical exemption from further environmental review under CEQA, and a request to approve a conditional use permit to amend the Mountain View Shopping Center planned commercial center use schedule to allow office use at 1860 and 18 through 1880 Shaw Avenue. Kristen Martin, applicant, Thomas Richards, owner, and Marissa Denson, assistant planner, staff presenting.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, Planning Commission. CUP 2024-006 is associated with the Mountain View Planned Commercial Center that is located south of Shaw and east of Fowler Avenue. On the screen, you can see kind of a blue outline of the boundary of the PCC. Oh, sorry about that. So this request from the applicant is to amend the use schedule that was established with the PCC. The use schedule and the development standards for a planned commercial center are different than that of a traditional shopping center or commercial center, where they can restrict or add uses and have unique development standards to have kind of a comprehensive shopping center. And in this case, the vacant area on the screen, it's outlined in red, has remained vacant since the establishment and development of the center in the early 90s. So the applicant has decided that office uses will help revive the center, and they have requested the CUP to amend the use schedule for the entire center. Originally, the area that is still vacant was prescribed for a major retail building and 2 smaller retail buildings that would total about 30,000 square feet, and it just never came to fruition. So with their proposal, if the CUP to allow office uses is approved, they are proposing 4 multi-tenant office buildings that would total about 15,000 square feet and would have associated improvements such as parking and lighting and landscaping. It is important to note that this conceptual site layout is not changing any of the access or any of the circulation of the center, and the center does already have reciprocal parking and access agreements. The PCC does call for 4.7 parking stalls for every 1,000 square feet of building area. With this proposal, we would require 510 parking stalls, and there are 633 provided, which is significantly exceeding that parking requirement. On the screen, you will see the portion of the use schedule that would be added to the existing one to allow office uses. And these are administrative, business, general, medical, professional offices, along with any incidental, like small retail sales that go along with the office. And this is very consistent with the office uses we see in other commercial centers and even along the Shaw Avenue corridor. Especially in this portion of Shaw, we have a lot of offices there, so this is very common. So just kind of to wrap things up, there are no proposed modifications to access and circulation. The parking is significantly exceeding what is required. And then staff will be working with the applicant regarding the architecture of the buildings as well as the signage to ensure that they are compatible with the existing buildings and the PCC, and both of those will be reviewed in subsequent processes at the staff level. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve Conditional Use Permit 2024-006 as all of the 6 CUP findings have been made. The office uses will be less intense of a user than the planned retail in that area, which will help out the neighbors directly to the south, and that office uses are typically seen in commercial centers. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, does the commission have any clarifying questions for staff? Okay, we're going to go ahead and open the public hearing. And is the applicant present? Okay, we would like to hear from him. You can step up to the podium. Thank you. Or her, I'm sorry.
Can you hear me? Good evening. My name is Kristen Martin. I work for the owner and the Penstar Group. He is the original owner and developer of the shopping center, so we have a long-standing history of this project. We would like to ask for your approval in finishing out and infilling the final parcels, and we think it would be a great addition. If you have any questions, I'm happy to stay and answer them.
Since we have no question, at this time, I'd like to invite people from the public who would like to speak in support of this item. If we have any, please step up to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Okay, seeing none, then we'd like to invite anyone who would like to speak in opposition of this project. Okay, seeing none, we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing and bring it back to commission for discussion. No clarifying? All right, and no discussion. Then I'd like to invite us to go ahead and motion.
I'll go ahead and motion that we approve CUP 2024 TAC 006.
I'll second. Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Bedstead and a second by Commissioner Hatcher to approve CUP 2024-006. Commissioner Bedstead?
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher?
Yes.
Commissioner Hinkle?
Yes.
Commissioner Hebert?
Yes.
Chair Antuna?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, moving on to item 3. Consider conditional use CUP 2024 0-10, adopting a Class 32 categorical exemption from further environmental review under CEQA, and to approve a conditional use permit to allow the operation of an adult daycare within the existing building at 100 West Ashland Avenue. Jamie De La Cerda, applicant and owner, and Marissa Jensen, assistant planner, presenting.
Thank you. Before I get started with my presentation, I would like to point out that the Planning Commission received on the dais this evening a memorandum and also a letter of support that we received earlier in the week for the project from Ms. Coughlin. She was not able to be here tonight, but she did want her support to be known by the Planning Commission. So you did receive those. Alrighty. So CUP 2024-10 is a request for the relocation of the Diamond Learning Center from their current property at DeWitt and Sierra to the property at 100 West Ashland Avenue, which is an existing 60,000 square foot building. It was originally developed as a call center, and it was developed with the building next door. That one's about 40,000 square feet. So they were one development. They have shared parking, shared access, and over the years they have seen a few different uses there. But the Diamond Learning Center did purchase the property that is outlined in red, and their plan is to occupy the majority of it, and the rest would be leased out to another tenant that is unknown at this time. So the Diamond Learning Center is a non-residential program for individuals with developmental disabilities over the age of 18 that provides education, learning, and activities to foster personal growth and skill. They have operated in the city of Clovis for the past 6 years. Their hours are Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Currently, they have 185 students enrolled, and they hope in the next 5 years to reach their goal of 635 students enrolled. Here is a conceptual site plan that has been submitted as well. There are a few changes to the site plan, but we'll get into those in a minute. The parking situation for the property is good. They have a lot of extra parking, but for Diamond Learning Center themselves, they require 1 stall for every 6 students. So even with the goal of 635 students, they would only require 106 parking stalls, and that far exceeds the parking requirement just for the Diamond Learning Center, but also for the adjacent office. Sorry.
I apologize for having some technical issues right now. We're getting back there right now. Sorry, Marissa.
No, that's okay. So they do satisfy the parking requirement, and there are a few modifications that are being proposed if the CUP was approved through the site plan review process, which is the addition of some ADA compliant stalls. Diamond Learning Center does have 24 vans to transport these students, and with that, they are hoping to make some changes to those. You can see them in this area right here to comply. And then also they are required by the state of California, based on their license type, to have an outdoor recreation area. So this area is about 14,000 square feet, and it provides shaded grassy and concrete areas, trees, benches, lighting, and it has 2 access points on either end. And the details of that will be reviewed following approvals at the staff level. And staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve CUP 2024-010, as all of the 6 CUP findings have been made. The relocation of the Diamond Learning Center is allowed in the CM Zone District with an approved CUP, and the recreation area is located over 500 feet from the nearest residence. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Does the Commission have any clarifying questions for staff? Okay, seeing none, we're going to go ahead and open the public hearing. And is the applicant present? Okay, go ahead and step up to the podium. State your name and address for the record, please.
Oh, Jamie Della Cerda, 1717 West Ellery Way, in Fresno, 93711. It's my son. This is a huge opportunity for us. We believe in lifelong learning. We opened in 2005. 6 months later, I had twins, and one twin has Down syndrome and one does not. And so for me, that is the ultimate inclusive setting, of course. So that's why I know this is exactly what I'm supposed to do, because I had the center first. I've been a special ed teacher for years. We've developed in our 6 years so many community opportunities within Clovis, partnerships, and basically we just believe in lifelong learning. I think we learn best from each other, and we just want to continue learning and continue reaching other people. Anybody have a question? I'd love to talk about it if you have.
Do you have any commission questions? I think it's a wonderful thing that you're doing, and it's such a need. So it's amazing that you brought it to Clovis, and I'm glad that you're here.
Thank you. We're opening East Diamond Deli if anybody is in for a sandwich. It's the first of its kind, and our guys with Down syndrome, cerebral palsy will be the ones working in the deli, and they'll be inclusively working with the rest of our community members. So it's really exciting.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. I have one question.
Sure.
In the report, it cited that you're looking to have a 588 parking stalls. Did I read that incorrectly?
No, it's, that's an increase of students.
Oh, it's increase of students.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wrote my notes wrong. I was like, why do we need so much parking? Interesting. Okay, thank you. I have no questions.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, we're gonna go ahead and open it up for the public. If there's anyone in the public who would like to speak in support of this item, please step up to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Do we have anyone who would like to speak in support of this project? Okay, seeing none. Is there anyone in the public who would like to speak in opposition of this project? Okay, we're going to go ahead and, seeing none, we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing and bring it back to commission for discussion. Okay, it sounds like we're ready for a motion.
All right. I think it's a fantastic project, so I'd like to make a motion to approve CUP 2024 TAC 010.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Bedstead and a second by Commissioner Hatcher to approve CUP 2024-010. Commissioner Bedstead?
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher? Commissioner Hinkle?
Yes.
Commissioner Hebert?
Yes.
Chair Antuna?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. And, Chair, if I may, staff would like to ask for a brief pause while we fix the technical issue that we're currently having before proceeding to the next item, if that's possible.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We're going to pause for a little break here so we can fix our presentation. Okay, I think we're back online and ready to continue. We're going to continue with item number 4, resolution to approve conditional use permit 2024-007, adopting a Class 1 categorical exemption from further environmental review under CEQA, and to approve a conditional use permit to allow operation of a tattoo parlor within an existing commercial center at 711 West Shaw Avenue, Suite 111, Lotus Body Art, applicant Western Village, Inc., owner. Liz Salazar, Assistant Planner, presenting.
Good evening. Thank you, Chair. The project is located on the northeast corner of West Shaw and Willow Avenues, as identified here in red. The project proposes to occupy a approximately 1,200 square foot tenant space that's shown here in blue. The project is surrounded by Big Dry Creek Canal and multifamily to the north, a ponding basin and commercial to the east,
and commercial centers to the south and west. The site is Zone C2, which allows body art establishments subject to an approved CUP. The body art establishment will be known as Lotus Body Art, and they will be proposing tattoo services and the sale of their artwork. They do not propose any piercings operations. All artists will be required to be appropriately licensed through the Fresno County Department of Public Health, and the proposed hours of operation are between 10 a.m. and 9 p.m. The site does not propose any changes to the parking lot. There is no increased square footage and no circulation modifications. This project was distributed to the police department, and no items of concern were brought up. Based on the location of the proposal, access from both Shaw and Willow, and no concerns, and it being within an existing shopping center and sufficient parking, staff is recommending approval of the conditional use permit. The project is consistent with the general plan, the C2 zone district, and the Clovis Municipal Code. It will not substantially impact traffic, sewer, or water, and will not impact other city services. Therefore, staff is recommending approval of CUP 2024-007, subject to the conditions of approval. And I'm available for any questions.
Does the commission have any clarifying questions for staff? Okay, very good. Seeing none, we're going to go ahead and open the public hearing. Is the applicant present?
Yes, they are.
If you want to go ahead and step up to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Hello, my name is Gabriel Melton, 2701 Holland Avenue, Clovis. I'm owner and partner with Lotus Body Art, hoping to open in California. Pretty straightforward business the way she presented it, so I'm just here to answer any questions if you have them.
Any questions? Thank you very much. No questions at this time?
Oh, thank you.
Okay. At this time, we're going to go ahead and open up to the public. If anyone is in the public who would like to speak in support of this item, please step up to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Do we have anyone? Okay, seeing none. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition of this project? Okay, seeing none, then we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing and bring it back to the commission for discussion. All right, sounds like, welcome to Clovis, by the way. Happy to have you there and filling a vacancy, so I'm glad that you're here. So I think we're ready for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution for CUP 2024-007.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Hatcher and a second by Commissioner Bedstead, approving the resolution as presented for CUP 2024-007. Commissioner Hatcher?
Yes.
Commissioner Bedstead?
Yes.
Commissioner Hinkle?
Yes.
Commissioner Hebert?
Yes.
Chair Antuna?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, moving on to item number 5. Consider items associated with approximately 18 acres of land located at the northeast corner of North Barron and Perrin Avenues. Francis Ricciuni, I'm sorry if I butcher that last name, and Patrick V. Ricciuti, owners Lanier Homes, applicant, Yamiba and Horn Engineering, Inc., representative. Consider approval of a resolution recommending the City Council adopt an environmental finding of mitigated negative declaration and mitigation monitoring and reporting program for vesting tentative tract map 6452 and Pelling Development Permit 2023001. Consider approval of tentative tract map. Consider resolution for tentative tract map map 6452, a resolution recommending the City Council approve a vested tentative tract map for a 153-lot, single-family planning residential development of approximately 18 acres of land. Consider approval of resolution PDP 2023-001, a resolution recommending that the City Council approve a request to approve a planned development permit for 153-lot, single-family residential development. Liz Salazar, Assistant Planner, presenting.
Thank you, Chair, for introducing the project. As stated, the project is located on the northeast corner of North Barron and Perrin Avenues. The project site is approximately 18 acres for the single-family residential development. There is an additional 4 acres that is not included in the project for a future public facility site. The site is surrounded by a ponding basin to the north, the future ponding public facility site to the east, and then further east of Sunnyside is rural residential. To the south is single-family residential in construction and a PG&E substation. To the west is currently vacant, however, is approved for single-family development through Tract Map 6343. This parcel was included in Tract Map 6343's annexation boundary and was pre-zoned to R1 PRD. This area was annexed into the city just on October 14th. Tract Map 6452 is a proposed 153 non-gated single-family subdivision. The project will be accessed from North Barron and Perrin Avenues. Perrin Avenue will end at the Marin intersection, which is right here on the southern portion. So Perrin Avenue will not extend east, and there will be no direct connection to the subdivision from Sunnyside Avenue. The project proposes both public and private streets. The main internal street will be a public street that ends at that cul-de-sac and will be required to be developed to city standards, which includes the 56-foot wide with 5-foot sidewalks on each side. The internal streets will be private streets. Those are proposed at 24 feet wide with access to the garages. The garages will be required to be set back a minimum of 4 feet to allow sufficient backup space from the garages into the streets. The project is located in the Heritage Grove Master Planned area. So in accordance with the Heritage Grove design guidelines, the project would be required to develop both Barron and Perrin Avenues as neighborhood boulevards, which would require 20-foot parkways between the right-of-ways and the parcels. Within that 20-foot parkway, they would be required to have a sidewalk and landscaping. Additionally, in accordance with the Heritage Design Guidelines, the project is required to create a community corner paseo on that northeast corner of Barron and Perrin Avenues, which would include incorporation of a stone wall, a corner paseo tree, and a direct pedestrian path from the corner into the subdivision. The project is proposed as to be HOA maintained. The project site is approximately split in half in regards to the general plan land use designations. That would be very low and medium density residential. With those split designations, the maximum dwelling units would be 80 dwelling units. However, the applicant has proposed a blended density project with the adjacent Tract Map 6200 to the south. Blended density products are used to provide flexibility in design of subdivisions by allowing a mix of housing types and sizes while maintaining the overall density of the general plan. A blended density calculation was utilized for this proposal with Tract Map 6200 in order to facilitate the applicant's development of the 153 units. The blended density calculation is supported by staff due to limited circumstances, which include that the projects are the same owner and developer and that they're contiguous of each other. It is reasonable to state that in the event that these projects were proposed together, that the project would be developed in phases and the overall density would have been calculated as one. It is practical to calculate the density together and is supported by General Plan Policy 3.6, which allows for such application of a blended density product. Again, so with application of the blended density, the excess remaining units of tract map 6200 were applied to tract map 6452 with an overall consistent general plan density for the two products. As I previously stated, the project is zoned R1 PRD, which is appropriate for small family lot uses, including detached single-family structures on small lots. The plan development request is to allow deviations from the development standards, which encourage design flexibility and superior site planning for a product of high quality. The project proposes deviations from the development standards that include reduced lot sizes. The minimum lot size is proposed at 2,184 square feet. The project is also requesting reduced setbacks. Those setbacks are listed as Table 1 in the staff report. And they're also requesting an increased lot coverage at 62%. As part of the plan development permit, in order to ensure that there's sufficient storage for the trash toters, a condition of approval has been added that would require a paved path from the street to the side yard to ensure that there's sufficient storage of the toters. For parcels that have been identified with the zero lot line, a condition of approval has been added that will require a covenant and deed restriction to allow the adjacent property owner to access the house for maintenance or repairs. Plan development permits require 2 covered parking spaces and 1 guest parking. The project is proposing a 2-car garage for each house and then 182 parking stalls on the street, so they are meeting the parking stall requirement. The project also proposes multiple direct pedestrian paths from both Perrin and Barron Avenue, and it's a little hard to see, but in between some of the homes on the south, there are pedestrian paths that connect into the into the subdivision. As part of the plan development permit request, the applicant is required to propose a program of amenities, and this is to offset the requested development standard deviations. An offsite amenity was proposed by the applicant to construct an 8,990 square foot pocket park. This pocket park will include a children's play area, seating, and a shade structure along with green space. As an offsite amenity that will provide a general public benefit, staff evaluated opportunities for open space and other public improvements within the project or within the vicinity. One of the options that we reviewed was incorporating a trail connection along the Perrin Avenue. And this would be to be consistent with an amenity trail that was recently proposed in the adjacent tract to the west, which is tract map 6343. However, that amenity trail was proposed at 50 feet wide, and it would be infeasible for this project to incorporate that. So staff did evaluate other amenity options in the vicinity. And then with that, we came up with an option to construct a portion of a planned trail along Sunnyside Avenue that's adjacent to the existing PG&E substation. So the substation is already developed, so it's unlikely that that portion of the trail would be required to be developed by the owner. So staff saw this as a opportunity to provide the amenity by this tract. However, construction of that portion of the trail was not proportionate to the amenity for this tract due to the overall cost to construct the trail and also to obtain right-of-way. So in lieu of construction of the trail, the applicant has agreed to provide a monetary fund of $38,000 to be put in a fund specifically to be put towards this development of this portion of the trail. Track map 6452 and PDP 2023-001 are consistent with the goals and policies of the general plan, the municipal code, and the R1PRD zone district. The project will not substantially impact sewer, water, or other public services, and based on the findings stated in the staff report and no opposing comments, staff is recommending the Planning Commission recommend approval of the project to the City Council, subject to the revised conditions of approval. And then before we open it up, I will have Ruben discuss the modified conditions that were provided to you guys.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Ruben Almavisca. I am an engineer with the engineering department. And as George mentioned earlier, on the dais, you were provided updated engineering conditions for this project. Just to give you a quick summary of those conditions that were modified without going into too technical of the conditions. Condition 58I was removed after reevaluating the traffic study for the signals that were conditioned for the project and are no longer required for construction for this project. And the mitigation for that traffic study would be taken into account with the payment of the development impact fees. Condition 78H was removed as it was unclear for the responsibility of the construction of T6 required by the water study for that area, and that requirement would be addressed in the addition of condition 84A that was added to address the need of that tank, and that need would be determined by the city engineer by a CIP project and at timing of such. I'm open to any questions that you guys may have, and that would conclude the presentation. Thank you.
Okay. Does the commission have any clarifying questions for staff? Okay, seeing none, then we're going to go ahead and open the public hearing now. Is the applicant present? Okay, you can step up to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jeff Calloway. I'm with Lennar Homes, 8080 North Palm Avenue, Suite 110, Fresno 93611. It's exciting to be here after all this time. Last time I was before this body was before COVID, so it's been a while. And we're excited to bring another project to the Heritage Grove master plan area. I'd like to thank staff, engineering and planning staff for getting us to this point. None of them are easy anymore, but we're finally here. And we're agreeable with the conditions and the amended conditions that you received tonight. And I'm here to answer any questions that I can. Thank you.
Are there any questions for the applicant? Okay, looks like there's no questions at this moment. You can go ahead and have a seat.
I'm sorry?
It doesn't appear that we have questions at this moment for you, so you can go ahead and have a seat.
You know what? I have hearing aids that don't do well in this building
for
some reason. I'm sorry.
The commission does not have any questions at this time for you.
Do I have any questions?
No, the commission, the body does.
Commission. Oh, I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Yes, we have no questions at this time for you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, we're going to go ahead and see if there is anyone in the public who would like to speak in support of this item. Okay, seeing none, is there anyone in opposition of this project? Please state your name and address for the record. Thank you.
My name is Patrick Mena. Address is 9459 North Purdue Avenue. I live in the homes that are just to the east of this project. I'm not so concerned about the traffic. Obviously, the road's not going to go through on Perrin into Sunnyside, so that's not the issue. My main concern is the development that Lennar has already built or is building right now. You know, it's much less dense than what they're planning on putting in. And it seems like this project is significantly more dense than what they're already doing. And I just keep questioning, why are we always looking at putting in projects that don't fit the environment they're in? It just seems to me that we're putting these very dense projects in rural areas, and they don't really match up with what's already there, and they don't even match up with what Lennar's already building in that area. So that's my main concern, is why are we doing that? And can't we have a project that matches what they already have put in place and be more, you know, have more continuity? That's my main concern, because if you look at that, I mean, their 2,500 square foot lots are pretty darn small. So that's my concern. Just want to voice it. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in public who would like to speak in opposition of this project? Okay, seeing none, we're going to go ahead and close the public session and bring it back to the commission for discussion.
I do have a question, actually, for staff. How does this affect our RENA numbers for affordable housing? Does it in any way? Are there any offsets here? I mean, with the density that's proposed?
Go ahead.
I think the short answer is that it doesn't help the city or deal directly with our RENA numbers. I don't think this property in particular was part of our identified projects even for above moderate income level housing because it wasn't in process when we were working on our inventory. I can't see Lily there in the corner, but is that right, Lily? Yeah, Lily's confirming that that's accurate.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I have some discussion. I think as the gentleman who spoke in opposition, as I sit here, and having sat here since, 2018, we want a diverse mix of housing in Clovis. I think the pendulum is swung too far, though. We are seeing high density everywhere we go. I certainly understand that the builders need to be able to make a profit, but there's also, I think, opportunity for other projects that provide larger lots for folks, larger homes as well. I think everything doesn't have to be so dense. We're already seeing high densities. We're being forced into that at the state level as well. Many of these PRDs that have come before us historically have gone into kind of niche areas as infill lots or other things that maybe didn't make sense to do much else there. So I just struggle as we build out Heritage Grove that we're already getting kind of moving into this direction. I'm processing, and I'm processing out loud here, but I really would like to see the development community provide that diverse mix, and the pendulum needs to swing back the other way a little bit more. So that's kind of my appeal, not just to Lennar, but in general.
Do you have other questions or discussion?
This type of development is becoming more popular because it makes the price for people that can afford the homes that are on larger lots and stuff. So there is a marketplace currently for this type of development, and in Clovis, we're allowing these people to live in Clovis by putting a project in like this?
I have a couple of concerns I've actually addressed with staff already. The idea of using excess lots from a different project and carrying them over is not something I've ever seen us do before, and I'm not sure that that is starting a precedent that we're going to want to start, because yes, it might make sense now because it's the same builder and it's contiguous to the last development, but who's to say another developer is going to come in and say, okay, 2 years ago I built and I had 47 lots left and now I want to carry it over. So I think that's a slippery slope that we may not want to go down. I also agree with Commissioner Bedstead. I've never been a really big fan of very small lots. When the lot, literally the lot's the size of my house, it's hard to imagine, and we seem to be building them everywhere and a lot of them. So I think we need to take a hard look at how much of the same type of product we want in the city. That's all I have for now.
Yeah, these are tight. I mean, I think it seems like the traffic issue is addressed. That's usually my hot button. But yeah, again, I don't know that these are entry-level price points. I see these things coming up, and they seem to be very expensive when they're there. And as I think, as we know, a lot of these turn into rental units, which turns into a lot of populace that are just renters and investors who invest in these smaller properties. I think that would be my concern, is that these turnover and they end up being rental units by investors in our community. I don't know. I kind of the gentleman who spoke kind of touched my heart about the aesthetics, in the area. I mean, it's one thing to say, hey, we have a certain amount of product that looks a certain way in our community, and then we force these other ones that look different. So that's kind of my thoughts about it. I just have some very concerns about the way this will play out in the long run.
Okay, I have some questions. Were you able to bring up that map? I think it was the development map, the one that had yeah, that one. There we go. Okay, thank you. So I'm going to voice the same concerns, and I understand that you said the calculation of carryover from a prior project is actually allowed within our building code. Is that correct?
So we have a policy within the general plan that allows for like a blended density project through a mix of housing types within the project, as long as it's consistent with the general plan density. So we have practiced this on multiple occasions. Just recently, you've seen it through Track Map 6205, and then the various other projects have done the same thing.
Okay. And the street that's the private street, I didn't read where it doesn't have sidewalks, so I'm assuming it does have sidewalks?
No,
no,
so,
it does not. Okay.
Yeah, so the public street that has sidewalks is the main internal one that kind of goes here and then ends at the cul-de-sac.
Mm-hmm.
All of the streets that are leading into the home, so they're more kind of like, they're kind of defining them as alleys because they're accessing the homes. These are all private. So they don't have sidewalks. However, all of the projects, the homes are facing the internal, and there is internal pedestrian walkways that connect all of the homes and that lead to the sidewalks here or the sidewalks on Perrin and Barron. So there is pedestrian connectivity from each home, just not traditionally on the side, but internally.
Okay, and no driveways, right? I mean, I think you said 4 foot, I think it was?
Yeah, so there are no driveways accessing, so yeah, there's none.
So no streets, okay, very good.
There are street parking on those internal streets, and then additional marked parking on the caps there, but yeah, no driveways.
Okay. And the lot sizes, it was 2,100, looks like. And what size of a home would go on a 2,100 square foot lot? Do we know?
Yeah, so these homes, I believe, are, let's see. I don't know if Jeff wants to use the average square footage of the home.
Yeah, we have three models. Can you hear me? We have three models, and they're 1,900, about 2,000 and 2,100 square foot.
Okay.
Two-story.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much for that. I'm going to voice the same concerns. It just, and the limited green space for 153 families who will live here, where will the children play? The streets are 24-foot wide with parking on them, and that's the entry and exits of vehicles. It doesn't sound like the yards are very big, because even the smallest house on the smallest lot still is very limited to a patio possibly. So I do have concerns about this development in Heritage Grove. I remember when it was presented to the council and what was envisioned for this area. And I don't know that you stated that if this project had been presented in as one, meaning the project that Lenore is currently developing and this one would have been presented as one, I wonder if the layout would have been different. I'm wondering if the density would have been different. So I don't know that unifying them, and I understand that there's an allowance for it, and we've done it in the past with other projects, if the project would have looked this way. So I kind of echo the concerns of my fellow commissioners that this project is really high density, and and even the trail that we tried to put alongside of it was a no. So we want to promote, the city wants to promote trail access, being outside, walkability, just all these different things. And I don't know that adding another house or a few more homes I don't know that should be the price. I think that when these developments are being considered, consider the people that are going to live here. Whether they're renters, they still will have families, and they still will want to have a little green space. And if you look at the map, do we have the map that has the other developments? I think there you go. So you're kind of in the middle of nowhere over there. So I don't know, more thought needs to be given to the people that will live there. And I understand affordability is important, and I understand that there's a demand, as Commissioner Hinkle stated. But we really do need to consider quality of life for the people who live here. We just don't need a place to just be inside, but promote being outdoors. Anyway, that's my soapbox.
Liz, I have a question. Can you clarify, you said that the policy was that we would do carried over lots if it was in the same project. But this is not actually the same project. It's the same builder and it's the same area, but it's two different projects, correct?
Right. We were just referencing that the general plan does allow for this type of blended product. Although this is not the same exact situation or scenario that we have seen in the past, the intent is carried over through that policy. So we understand the question, but staff did evaluate various factors, including, that it's the same owner, same developer, it's a contiguous, and this is a unique situation where it was supported.
And Chair, if I may add a little bit to that too, just adding to the comment from Commissioner Hatcher, and I believe you also had a question about the transferring and whether that's allowed by code. And it's just for full disclosure and transparency, I just want to make the point that our development code does not specifically prohibit us from doing the transferring. At the same time, it does not allow us, right? It doesn't give us the okay, the approval to do that. So it gives us, it gives staff the discretion to work each project as they come in. But I just wanted to put that on the record, for full transparency.
Thank you for that. I don't personally have an issue with the blended density. I have an issue for this particular one, carrying lots over from a project that has already been approved and gone through and saying, oh, we could have done 50 more, so we're going to give it to this project. I don't believe that's a good practice, and I don't really support that.
Commissioners, if I may add, I just want to state that the density currently for this project is for 153 lots over 18 acres, which comes about 8.5 units per acre. And that's what we're aiming for at the moment.
Thank you for that clarification.
One final thought on that. If they didn't have the blended lots, what would they be able to put on here? Because you're adding extra lots, so what would it be if you had not added those lots?
At the current land use designations, the maximum would have been 80.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Oh, go ahead.
I have a problem with this development and other developments that have been before us and the ones that are coming. But this development is not friendly at all to our aging community, at all. Our aging community is downsizing, but they cannot live in two-story homes. They cannot go up and down stairs. So we need to think of them in our developments and making housing for our aging community. As I stated before, they predict by 2030, there will be 1.3 million people 100 years or older. So what are we doing to take care of those people? Nothing. This project is an example of nothing for our aging community. We have a huge marketplace with our aging, downsizing, and selling homes. I'm in real estate and I see it a lot. But this project has nothing that our aging community can move into, because as they get older, they become less mobile. So it's something you need to think about, and what are we going to do for them in a project like this? They should be allowed to live in there. Another thing is, the families with kids are going to like it because they got a babysitter. So they can be sprinkled through this development and everybody's going to come out ahead on it. So that's the problem I have with this development. It is not handling our aging community at all. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Okay, go ahead and invite a motion at this time. Okay. For clarification, it sounds like, it looks like we don't have a motion, so I'd like an alternative, or do we have to take a vote for it to fail? Do we have a motion? Okay, very good.
I'll make a motion to deny resolution recommending the City Council adopt a, do I have to read all three of them, or can I just deny all three of them together?
You could recommend, if that's what you're trying to do, so you could recommend denial of the three resolutions presented in this item.
Okay, so do all three together.
Yeah, you could do that. But just to clarify that the first resolution is regarding specifically the CEQA finding, and the second one has to do with the tract map, and the third one has to do with the PDP. So if you have a different opinion about the CEQA finding as opposed to the other two, you could approach that one separately, but if you want to make your motion to deny all three, you could do that. Just reference that you deny all three resolutions presented in the item.
The CEQA is tied to that track map, so I would assume it would make sense to deny all three together.
Got it.
Is that correct?
I'm sorry, say that again?
For your guys' purposes, it's easier to deny all three of them together, because we're not going to approve a neg deck for a track map we're not going to approve.
Correct.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to deny the resolution for items A, B, and C as stated earlier.
And I'm sorry, if, the recommendation for denial is going to be made, staff would like to request that,
To vote down then approval?
no, to just mention which findings were not able to be made, with that recommendation.
Oh, God, where's all the findings at? Where's the thing, do you have the page with findings? Do you have the findings?
So the findings for the plan development permit are on page 95 of the agenda packet. And then the findings for the track map are on page 98 of the staff, agenda packet, sorry.
Do you have a digital copy of that or no?
No, but I have a hard copy.
If anybody else knows them, I'll stop there.
I can bring it to you. Give me.
As I'm downloading it.
Yes, Liz will bring them to you.
Might make it.
Okay, staff, can you advise if part of my denial is based on the fact that I am not in agreement? Oh, sorry. With carrying the lots over from a previous lot, that's not gonna be one of these findings. So,
Right, like they said, it's just, the city's using
a policy.
that doesn't, there's nothing that exists for or against.
So, what policy do you want me to cite for that?
I think you're referring to policy, finding, for the PDP, 1B.
Okay, so it would fall under 1B?
For the PDP.
And 8. Yeah. Okay. That gets us to, then where's the...
And finding 1 of the track map, which is general. I would say that's the line that they're looking at.
Can I ask a question? If we deny this map tonight, what's the ramifications of bringing it back? Or when can we bring it back?
Okay. So you want the findings, George, for what, my recommendation to deny are?
Yes, please.
Okay, so the findings for the track map are, oh, I'd actually go in order, sorry. For the neg deck would be the one, item 1B and number 8. Do you want me to read them?
No, you don't have to read it,
Okay.
just,
Going on for the track map would be number, where was he at? Would fall under number 1. And number 2, with the argument that I don't agree with the carrying over of the lots.
okay. Number 1 and 2, okay.
Anything else? And I think that was it, correct?
And that would apply to the PDP as well?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion, and do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Hatcher and a second by Commissioner Bedstead to deny the resolutions as presented for the for the proposed mitigated negative declaration and track 6452 as proposed, and plan development permit 2023-001 per the findings stated. Commissioner Hatcher?
Yes.
Commissioner Bedstead?
Yes.
Commissioner Hinkle?
Yes.
Commissioner Aber?
Yes.
Chair Antuna?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, moving on to item number 6. Consider items associated with approximately 33 acres of land located in the northwest corner of Sierra and North Clovis Avenues. Blanchmont Corner LLC, ETAL owners, Legacy Realty and Development applicant, Roger Hurtado, representative. Consider adoption resolution 24, a resolution recommending that the City Council adopt an environmental finding of mitigated negative declaration and a mitigation monitoring and reporting program for P-C-C Amendment R 2024-004, and consider approval of Resolution 24, R 2024-004, a resolution recommending that the City Council approve P-C Amendment R 2024-004, amending the development standard and preliminary development plan for the Tuscan Village Planned Commercial Center. Lily Cha, Senior Planner, presenting.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, Commissioners. I'm excited to be before you this evening to request your support for Rezone 2024-004, which would amend the existing Tuscan Village Planned Commercial Center. So the Tuscan Village Planned Commercial Center, or PCC, it actually is a little bit larger than the boundary you see on this slide here. It actually incorporates the additional 5 acres just north of this site here, bounded by Clovis Avenue and Herndon and Sierra Avenues. However, the project site itself pertains to this southern portion of the PCC, which is about 33 acres. And the site itself is centrally located in the city of Clovis near Old Town Clovis, and it's one of the remaining undeveloped infill sites in one of the few remaining undeveloped infill site in the city.
So to give you a little bit of more information about the physical features, as we know, these are the streets that surround the site. It's bounded by again, Herndon to the north, Sierra to the south, Clovis Avenue to the east, and the Freeway 168 to the west. On the site, or the site itself, is separated from the first 5-acre phase to the north by McGill Avenue. And then centrally located on the project site is the Palo Alto Avenue alignment, which would be converted to a private drive with this project. And it's also important to note that under that little thin blue line, there's also a physical feature, the Clovis West Branch Clovis ditch that will need to be undergrounded with the project. And then we have the Old Town Clovis Trail that abuts the project site to the west and south. So in order to really kind of understand the intent of this project, it's good to, have some background information. The overall 40-acre PCC site itself is it's identified as Focus Area 2 in the city's general plan. And what the focus area allows for is just flexible development standards. In this case, it allows for mixed-use development, residential, commercial. However, historically, this project site has not utilized that flexibility, and we won't be utilizing that moving forward with this proposed project. That northern portion of the PCC was actually approved in December 2004. So the PCC itself was approved in what I would say 2 phases. This would be the first phase. And then with the understanding that later that southern 33-acre portion would come in with amendment to the planned commercial center. However, the City Council did approve an interim C2 zone district for this particular site here, which facilitated the development of the Fairfield Inn Hotel. And then shortly after that, Red Rock Ventures, the applicant, came in 2007, June 2007, to incorporate the rest of this area into the planned commercial center. So it's important to note that there are a couple of legal nonconforming uses existing in this project boundary, and then there's also an existing interim use in the project boundary. The legal nonconforming uses include a residence over at McGill and Clovis Avenue. It's about 1 acre in area. And then the second is a combination of a single-family residence and a vehicle storage facility. So this portion here was actually a part of the vehicle storage facility. However, it was parceled off and then sold to the school district that utilized it for storing their buses for a while there. And then I believe the applicant is working on acquiring that property from the school district. And then thirdly, there's an interim use, which is indicated in that red boundary. It's a used car dealership. It was approved in September 2007 through SPR 1990-20A, and also notably with an agreement between the city and the property owner. And specific to the agreement and the conditions of approval for that site plan, this interim use would need to cease operations and redevelop after 50% of the overall center is developed. And this is just kind of a blow-up version of that area. So first phase of Tuscan Village, again, was approved with rezone 2004-36 in December 2004. It's about 5 acres in area, and approved what you see there, the development there, in and out, Clovis Unified School District building, which was primarily, or initially, ITT Tech, and then a small multi-suite commercial building. The rezone 2006-28 is what approved the interim C2 zoning. Again, this development was intended to be incorporated into the overall PCC, which it was when that second phase of the PCC came in for the Tuscan Village. And then that second phase of the Tuscan Village was approved with rezone 2004-36A in June of 2007. It, again, updated the PCC to incorporate it into the overall Tuscan Village Commercial Center. And after the memorialization of that planned commercial center, unfortunately, there were only 3 developments that came into fruition. Those include the CHSU building, the Valley Care building, and CalStar Dental. We did more recently approve a hotel with SPR 24005, which is indicated in that green area there. So the reasons why development really didn't transpire is because of some challenges that these property owners face. One of which includes having to underground that West Branch Clovis ditch mentioned earlier. And then secondly, there are multiple property owners with different interests, and some of which came after the PCC was approved, the initial PCC was approved, so they weren't a part of that process. And there are very many irregularly shaped lots as depicted here in green. And so with the various property owners and those irregularly shaped lots, development was very challenging, especially because those parcel lines don't exactly align well with that initial preliminary development plan or master site layout that was approved with the Tuscan Village PCC. You'll note that some buildings do fall into place within some of those parcels. However, there are several parcels that are designated for parking area. And you can imagine those property owners weren't really happy with that. So a need for the update to the PCC was required. The city staff tried several times to coordinate an update with the property owners, however, was unsuccessful. And until more recently, when the applicant worked to acquire most of the centrally located parcels in the boundary, and their intended development was for large automotive retailers. So they were able to acquire those properties, and they also made the effort to reach out to the various property owners to come up with a design, a layout that would work for most of the property owners. So we are here this evening to request your support for this amendment, and what the amendment would do is it would update the PCC name from the Tuscan Village to the more familiar Golden Triangle, which is what somehow we come to refer the site as, and then it'll update the preliminary development plan, which is the master site layout, as well as the development standards, the design program, and architectural standards. Preliminary development plan. So on the left is what was initially approved for the Tuscan Village. For the reasons stated earlier with the challenges, the site plan just does not work. And the site plan also was very heavily focused on office development, which, you know, is not really kind of in the market these days. And to the right is what's being proposed with this amendment. Again, the site plan is heavily driven by those large automotive retail businesses. Primary circulation will remain largely the same. Access will also remain largely the same, with the primary access from that Palo Alto Avenue alignment from Clovis Avenue. So notably with this update, the PCC divided the boundary into planning areas. Planning Area 1 in orange is going to be the automotive retail focused area with these proposed businesses coming in. Planning Area 2 is a combination of office, retail, services, and lodging uses. Planning Area 3 caters more to food services, retail uses, and ancillary beverage production and entertainment, which we'll get into a little bit later in the presentation. And then Planning Area 4 is lodging and ancillary accommodations, with the lodging. And Planning Area 5 was added. It encompasses the remaining Tuscan Village PCC north of McGill Avenue. So Planning Area 1 is about 15 acres in area. There are 4 proposed buildings. Building A is proposed to be Porsche, Building B, BMW, Building C, Audi, and then at this point we don't know what Building J would be. Planning Area 2 is about 8 acres in area. There are a total of 8 buildings, 4 of which are existing. Those include CHSU, the Fairfield Hotel, Valley Care, and Callister Dental. Buildings P1 and P2 are future retail buildings, and buildings Q and R are future office buildings. And then Planning Area 3 is about 5 acres in area. Buildings D through G1, as mentioned earlier regarding entertainment, is actually proposed for a future Mad Duck location. If you're not aware, Mad Duck's is a restaurant, brewery, bar. And it's going to be very similar to what you find at Crow and Wolf, except there's a lot of outdoor activities at this site. We find this very appropriate for this location just because it is right adjacent to the trail. And then buildings K and L are future drive-through QSRs, and building S is a future retail building. For Planning Area 4, it's, again, specific to that site plan that was approved for the Tempo Hotel. It's a 124-room hotel by Hilton, and there could be a potential ancillary building associated with that hotel on this site. And then again, Planning Area 5 just encompasses the remainder of the Tuscan Village PCC. It'll be governed by the existing Tuscan Village standards established by Rezone 2004-36A. When it comes to development standards for the planning areas 1 through 4, they're all fairly similar with setbacks and everything like that. The only unique standard would be, based on planning areas, would be the height. The entirety of the site would be would have standard commercial building height, which is the maximum of 35 feet, and you could propose a conditional use permit for additional height. However, the difference in height request is for the 2 existing hotels, or the 1 existing hotel and the 1 approved hotel. And then when it comes to parking, parking standards were carried over from the original Tuscan Village standards, which establish a 4.7 spaces per every 1,000 square feet of gross floor area for commercial retail uses, and then office uses and hotel uses would be per the development code. The proposed sign program is largely similar to the city's current sign standard. This table was taken directly from the city's current standard, with minor exceptions to on-building signs. The development proposes 2 multi-tenant freestanding signs, which are generally location identified with the yellow stars, and then notably a proposed multi-tenant freestanding freeway sign depicted with the red star. The notable difference in terms of sign deviations from what our code would normally allow is specific to Planning Area 1, the automotive dealerships. They have unique requirements, corporate requirements that would require that they have multiple directional signs and monument identification signs that staff was comfortable with, and those areas are depicted in the green dots. So the Tuscan Village established an Italian and Tuscan theme when it comes to design and architecture. Those characteristics are depicted in the images on the left, which are existing buildings. They include stucco, cornices, columns, terracotta tile roofs, and neutral color palette. What's being proposed with this amendment here is you can tell kind of starkly different from what was established. It's going to be more contemporary and modern. The characteristics include clean lines, organic shapes, flat roofs, the use of glass, steel, concrete, and stone, metal cladding, and panels of, various materials, and then also a neutral color palette. Now, we do understand that when it comes to design, the difference is pretty stark. It's pretty significant. However, with the benefits that this project brings and the lack of flexibility that the corporate, automotive retail companies allow, we believe that an exception could be made to design standards to allow for this. And so design standards that generally fit these particular buildings that you see here were incorporated into the planned commercial center. It's also notable that the more recently approved buildings in the PCC are actually a little bit more modern as well. So to the top there, you see the Clovis Dental Building, and then to the bottom is the approved Tempo Hotel. You can see they're very linear in geometric form, and they utilize panels, metal and glass materials that you would see with these proposed automotive retail buildings. So with that, the project itself meets the findings required for rezone amendment. We believe this project is a benefit to the city with the businesses that it would be bringing. In addition to that, what it will do is it will really clean up this area and allow for development, not just for the applicant's project, but for other properties that are undeveloped in this Tuscan Village Center. This concludes my report, and we request that you, we request or recommend that you adopt a resolution to recommend that the City Council approve the environmental mitigated negative declaration for this project, and also to approve rezone 2024-004. And that concludes my presentation. I'm open for questions.
Very good. Does the Commission have questions for staff?
I do. I have one question for you, Lily. At Clovis and Palo Alto, are there any concerns with, I guess, I'm envisioning an intersection there. Right now, Palo Alto dead ends into Clovis, so it would extend beyond in what you call the private drive. Is there any plans to have a light there, or what does circulation look like as individuals are turning left across?
Yes, there is plans for a signal light there. I'll allow Chris with our engineering department to elaborate.
Yes, the project has conducted a local transportation analysis report. It's still in the draft form, but it is found that it is warranted for a traffic signal at Palo Alto and Clovis.
Thank you.
Any other questions for staff? Okay, very good. This time we're going to go ahead and open the public hearing. And is the applicant present? Very good. You can step up to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Eric Tinkin. I'm with Legacy Realty and Development, and I'm at 528 West Athens in Clovis. Where to start? So this has been it's a complicated piece of dirt, and as stated by Lily, there was many pieces of land. In fact, it's a miracle that we're here only 2 years later. I start thinking, wow, we started in August of 22, and then I start thinking, wow, we only started in August of 22, because that's when we started assembling the different pieces of land. In fact, it was mentioned the I think we're right in the middle of closing escrow on the final piece with the school district, probably going to close within the next few days. And then that's the very last piece that then has been accumulated. I just have to tell you that we're just overwhelmed with the support that Lily has given us through this process. I feel like the entire staff actually has been amazing. And you need to know that we develop in a lot of places, and honestly, Clovis is absolutely the best. So congratulations to you guys, and I don't know that you guys get to hear that very often, but it's a pleasure to work with the staff here and work, especially when a project is this complicated. I would like to say one thing too. There was a little more than just the traffic signal. I think up at McGill, I believe there's also a left-hand turn pocket going in to bring traffic westbound onto McGill instead of clogging up Herndon and Clovis with everybody trying to make U-turns and go to in and out. So we kind of solved that as well. And then our civil engineer is here too. I think, if I believe, one of the biggest problems we have is water pretty much just flows everywhere in every direction all over this whole property. It's a mess. So part of the time frame in planning this was trying to control all of that and get it organized into a workable model as far as flood control goes. So I'm here really for questions, and we've got many, many members of our team here, and owners of the different projects are here. The owners of the hotel are here, the auto dealerships. And I guess I'd like to say, too, that during the 2 years, we have been meeting with as many neighbors and other property owners as would meet with us and really soliciting input, and we've gone through many, many renditions. And I think we've ended with a great project that, as far as we could tell, everyone's excited about and happy with the results. And I think that's it. That's all I've got to say, but I'm here and available, and we are happy with all the conditions that the city has placed on this project. So that's it. Any questions?
Any questions for the applicant?
Nope.
Nope, none at this time. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, we're going to go ahead and invite public comment in support of this project. If there's anyone in the public that'd like to speak in support.
My name is Paul Moore. I'm at 270 North Clovis Avenue. I was property owner of L, and I just want to make sure that I'm not restricted entirely to a drive-in food. There's so many around me, but that I'm flexible with retail and that type of stuff. So if you could answer that for me, I'd appreciate it.
You will not be restricted to the drive-through
Okay.
QSR, yes. You have several uses that's allowed for that general, planning area, and so any of those uses would work.
I'm in favor of this project. I used to own the property with, is it I up there, or J, as well, Western Storage. The other thing is, I bought that in 1985, along with some other businesses I have. The water flows to the west, and there's a natural flow to the land. And I want to make sure that I'm not going to be blocked where all of a sudden I've got myself a pool on my property, but the water continues to flow to the west, or it's mitigated with the water flow. So that's the only concern I have. Other than that, I'm thrilled with the project.
Thank you for your comment, sir. Do we have anyone else in the public who'd like to speak in favor of this project? Okay, seeing none, is there anyone in the public that would like to speak in opposition of this project? Okay, seeing none, we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing session and bring it back to the commission for discussion.
My only comment is I think it's a great use of space, and I actually like that it's not any more neutral colors. I think we've used every neutral color known to man, so I have no problem with it.
I'm going to absolutely second that, and very excited that we found a project that fits this area, and I can't wait to actually see it come to fruition. So welcome to Clovis. We're happy to have you all here. Okay, go ahead, motion.
Okay, I will make a motion to consider the adoption of the resolution and also the R 2024-004.
I'll second.
Okay, I just want to confirm there was, two motions for the environmental and the rezone. Okay. I have a motion by Commissioner Hatcher and a second by Commissioner Hebert to approve the resolution as presented for the mitigated negative declaration and rezone 2024-004. Commissioner Hatcher?
Yes.
Commissioner Hebert?
Yes.
Commissioner Hinkle?
Yes.
Commissioner Bedstead?
Yes.
Chair Antuna?
Yes.
And motion passes 5-0.
Okay, George, at this time, do you want to take care of that housekeeping item you mentioned earlier?
Yes, I do. Thank you. I have two items. Well, the first one is, so in preparation for the November 21st Planning Commission meeting, it looks like it's lining up to be a pretty big item as well. Right now, we're tentatively looking at 6 items, and some of them are pretty large projects. So we just, staff wanted to take a poll, and engage your opinion of if the commission would be willing to start earlier that day, perhaps maybe 4 p.m. You can think about it. You can send myself or Dave an email after this, just after you confirm it. But just something to think about as we get closer to that day.
I think commissioners will recall that we had a discussion about some alternative dates, so we could have 2 meetings if we needed to. So I asked you to reserve December 5th on your calendars. We still may ultimately do that. So the issue that we're getting is that there's a lot of concern from our applicants about what would amount to a 2-week delay, which would prevent them from getting to the city council before the end of the year. So we don't know yet for sure what our calendar is going to be for December 21st and potentially December 5th. But there might be an alternative if the commission is interested in starting a little earlier on the 21st and having one miserably long day as opposed to, 2 medium miserable, days. So that's really kind of an open-ended question. If you all just want to tell us, no, or enough of you want to tell us no, that doesn't work, we'll stop worrying about it. If you want to think about it, check your schedules and let us know. That's fine too. But if you're sort of interested, you can tell us or get back to us.
I don't have a problem starting earlier. Just my only concern is having a project that might bring a lot of public input if we have it earlier that people can't attend. So maybe if you can kind of schedule the ones that might be more controversial.
Okay.
I like the idea of starting earlier as well. So I'm available for that.
Okay.
Yep. Same, flexible.
Yes. Okay. All right. And the last item for this evening is I get to share very sad news. So we was just recently told that our very own Dave Merchant will be retiring. Yes.
Not sad for me.
Yes. So Dave has informed staff that he would be leaving us in mid-December before the end of the year. So that was shocking for some of us, you know, to hear that. I was on vacation, and he called me, and I'm like, oh, that's not good news. You know, when you call me when I'm at home. So, but you know, on a personal note, I think you know, Dave has been here for a solid 5 years, you know, with us, and as a planner, I learned a lot from him, and I appreciate his guidance professionally, you know, that he's provided us. So.
I think hearing that, we should now have one really long, miserable night.
Absolutely. We need to do the 4 o'clock for sure. Congratulations, Dave.
Congratulations. And George, if anything really heavy or complicated comes your way, I think it would be wholly appropriate to turf it to Dave one last time.
I'll take that into consideration, yeah. Or you could just tell me no, he's not going to do it. And that's all for staff. Right.
All right, very good. And we're going to go ahead and adjourn this meeting at 7:52 until our next Planning Commission meeting scheduled on November 21st here in the council chambers at possibly 4 o'clock.